Hello guys, in today's video we have a new Flipsky Vesc controller FSESC 110-100 that was released a few days ago, and as always Flipsky company sent me for a honest review when they released a new product. So in today's video we will open the controller to see it from inside, and in the next video we will install it in a project to see how it will be respond. Now let's open the box to see the accessories that came with the controller. As you can see, in the box we will find the most necessary things: one USB to Type-C cable for the programming, the controller itself, and a manual with all the controller specifications and diagram. The FSESC 110-100, as indicated on its model number, it is at 110 volts rated and 100 amp rated output with proper heatsink. The casing is made of full aluminum for the best possible cooling, and on the back side it has a flat surface where we can integrate a much larger heatsink or water-cooled heatsink. A very important and helpful thing is the labeling of each wire function on the controller case, which you can see next to each wiring connector. The first connector is a SWD, which is used to program the microcontroller directly. In our case, the microcontroller is the STM32F. The next connector is UART2, communication protocol. Next 5-pin connector is for the motor hall sensors. Type-C programming connector via the Vesc tool. Next input is PPM or POM signal input. Next is for CAN communication. Next and the longest one is for all the function of the controller. And the last one is for the button of the controller or ignition switch. Here we have the LED status indicator and the power motor phase wires, which is at 10 gauge or 5.3 mm. On the back of the controller you can see the 4 holes with threads, so in case we have a powerful motor we can install a larger heatsink. Now let's open the case to see what the controller hides inside. The third thing we see when we open the case is the two large capacitors, which are at 120 volts maximum input voltage. So, the maximum battery voltage that we can connect on the controller is 120 volts, as long as we check the MOSFET maximum voltages of the phases that we will see later in the video. The connector labels are also written on the PCB board, which for me personally is very important. As you can see, the build quality is extremely good and has nothing to envy from America and Europe. At the top, you can see the CS630 MOSFET, the part of the DC to DC step-down converter, which will decrease the high voltage of the battery to low voltage. The next important ICs are the EG3120 MOSFET drivers, which control the power MOSFETs of the phases. Here you can see the manufacture date and the main microcontroller STM32F. Now let's take a look under the control board, the power MOSFETs. On the back of the control board, you can see the inductive coil of DC to DC converter. Now we can see the MOSFETs of the controller. As you can see, each phase wire corresponds to two MOSFETs. One is responsible for the negative pole and the other for the positive pole. So they manage to reverse the polarity to achieve the sine wave at the output. Now let's check the characteristics of the power MOSFET. As you can see, the MOSFET model is 017N12NM6, and once we open the datasheet we see that the maximum voltage of the MOSFET is 120 volts. So we confirm that our maximum battery voltage cannot exceed 120 volts. The MOSFET rated current at room temperatures is 331 amps. The impression that this particular controller leaves me in terms of price, build quality and ton of capabilities in a such small size is just amazing. But in my opinion there are some issues that written on the specifications. They do not mention the characteristics of the battery's line current and phase current separately. For example, the FSESC 110-100 in specs says only line current which is at 100 amps at 110 volts. So if this 100 amps is battery line current, why the battery power wires of the controller is only 10 gauge? Because as we all know, through 10 gauge wire we can pass only 25 to 30 amps rated current. Or this line current that is indicated on the controller is the phase current, which is usually 2 or 2.3 times greater than the battery line current. So, if we calculate those numbers, we will find that this controller must have battery line current at 45 amps maximum. There is no information anywhere. We need these specs to know exactly the rated input current of the battery to program the controller correctly. So that's it for today guys, and in the next video we will see the installation of this particular controller in the vehicle and why not in action.